हाँ जी बोलिए।
हेलो सर, ये मेरे होम लोन्स के डॉक्यूमेंट है। तो मैंने 50 लाख का होम लोन अप्लाई किया था आपके बैंक से।
ये इनके लोन के डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं। डॉक्यूमेंट के साथ ओबरॉय साहब के पास ले जाओ।
अरे यार, फिर से एक कैबिन से दूसरे कैबिन में भेज देते इन लोग।
अब आप भी यही सोच रहे होंगे कि ये ओबेरॉय साहब कौन है। सो मिस्टर ओबेरॉय इज नॉट जस्ट एनी टॉम, डिक एंड हैरी। ही इज व्हाट वी कॉल अ फाइनेंशियल रिस्क मैनेजर और an FRM professional. Imagine it is 2027 and there is an economic crisis going on. The markets are crashing and people are losing their jobs. If that is the scenario, a lot of people won't be able to repay their loans as well, right? That's where the job of an FRM professional like Mr. Oberoi becomes extremely crucial. Suppose if hundreds of people come to the bank asking for loans or credit and there's a probable economic downturn in the near future. An FRM professional's job in such a situation is to ask uncomfortable questions. Questions like, what could go wrong if we give loans to so many people? How much money could we lose? How do we protect ourselves? That's when FRM professionals like Mr. Oberoi analyze data, create models, and basically become the bank's or company's early warning system. Banks proactively need FRM professionals because people's hard-earned money is at stake, and there is always uncertainty and risk attached when finances come into the picture. Here's a fun fact. Even after the 2008 global financial crisis, there was one career field which experienced a huge rise in demand: risk management. Even in those moments of extreme economic crisis, the banks realized that they desperately needed people who could prevent disasters like this from happening again. Now, let's understand what FRM actually is. Financial Risk Manager is a professional certification for risk management offered by the Global Association of Risk Professionals, or GARP. It is globally recognized as a benchmark for expertise in risk management and demonstrates a professional's proficiency in areas like market risk, credit risk, and operational risk. Now, let's understand who can pursue this certification. The eligibility of an FRM is easy peasy. If you've passed 12th grade, you're eligible. No stream restrictions and no minimum percentage. However, here's some real honest advice. FRM involves a lot of maths and statistics. So, if you're comfortable with numbers, great, go ahead. If not, maybe build some basic finance knowledge first. My suggestion would be to start in your second year of college. You'll have the maturity to handle concepts, and as the certification takes 8 to 9 months to complete, you can finish it right before your graduation. Coming to the exam structure for FRM, it has two parts that build on each other. Part 1 is your foundation, where you learn what risk actually is and how to identify it in different situations. You'll understand the various types of risks that companies face. Market risk, when stock prices fluctuate. Credit risk, when people might not pay back loans. And operational risk, when internal processes fail. You'll also learn basic tools to measure these risks and get a solid understanding of how financial markets actually work. Part 2 is where you become the expert in risk management. It is all about application, where you learn advanced techniques to model and predict risks and understand how to actually manage risks in real and actual companies. Remember how weather apps tell you that there's a 70% chance of rain? With FRM, you will learn to do the same thing, but for money. You look at data and predict things like, this investment has a 40% chance of losing money, or this customer will probably default on their loan. You're basically becoming a financial fortune teller, but using math instead of magic. Look, spotting danger is one thing, but handling it is completely another thing. If you see a pothole while driving, you don't just stare at it. You change your direction or press the brakes, right? Similarly, in FRM Part 2, you learn strategies such as diversification, like don't put all your eggs in one basket. You also learn hedging, basically buying insurance for your investments. Both parts are entirely multiple choice questions. Part 1 has 100 questions and part 2 has 80 questions. Each exam part takes 4 hours to complete. The best thing is that there's no negative marking, so you can attempt every single question without worrying about losing marks. The FRM exam doesn't have a fixed passing percentage. Rather, GARP uses a relative scoring system where your performance is compared to other candidates' performance in the same exam session. The passing percentage varies each year and session, but historically, it tends to hover around 40 to 60% for both parts 1 and part 2. Also, a point to remember is that you must pass part 1 before applying for part 2. Both part 1 and part 2 exams happen in May, August and November. The exams are all computer based, testing real understanding and not just how well you memorize. Most students complete both parts in 8 to 9 months, which means you can finish the entire qualification in less than a year. However, to obtain the FRM charter designation, you also require 2 years of relevant work experience. But there is no need to worry, as you have 10 years after passing the exams to gain this experience. This experience can come from internships, entry-level bank jobs, consulting, or even fintech roles. Therefore, obtaining 2 years of work experience is not much of a hassle. Alright, now we have understood what FRM is. We have understood the exam structure and when it happens. Now, let's talk money. I mean, how much money FRM professionals can actually earn. The entry-level role most people start after clearing FRM is risk analyst. This is your foot in the door, where you're typically looking at a salary of 8 to 10 lakhs per year. In this role, you'll build models and analyze potential threats to the business. It's a great learning ground. With about 3 to 5 years of experience under your belt, you might move into credit risk manager territory, where you'll basically become the person who decides whether the bank should lend someone money or not. You're basically protecting the bank's assets while helping genuine borrowers. That's a pretty powerful position if you think about it. As a credit risk manager, you're looking at a salary in the range of 15 to 25 lakhs annually. Or you could also become a market risk specialist, the role which a lot of students like you aspire. As a market risk specialist, you'll be dealing with trading books, investment portfolios and derivatives. The earning potential of a market risk specialist varies in the range of 20 lakhs to 35 lakhs annually. A senior professional with 8 to 10 years of experience can expect salaries exceeding 50 lakhs in roles such as Chief Risk Officer. Remember the 2008 financial crisis I spoke about in the initial part of the video? FRMs are the individuals who ensure that something like that never happens again. Now, we have discussed the salaries that FRM professionals earn, but who's actually hiring for all these roles? Well, the list is extremely impressive. Every major Indian bank, including HDFC, ICICI, SBI, Kotak, and Axis Bank, has a dedicated risk management department actively seeking FRM professionals. Then, you've got the global investment banks like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citi, and many more. The big 4 consulting firms like Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, and EY, they've built entire risk advisory practices. So, they are all on the lookout for FRM professionals. Now, all this looks pretty decent, right? You might be wondering how much will it cost to do the FRM certification? Okay, so let's go into the detailed bifurcation. The Global Association of Risk Professionals, GARP, charges a one-time enrollment fee of $400 for new candidates registering for their first financial risk manager exam. After that comes the actual exam fees, and this is where the timing matters. If you register early for the exam, you'll receive the early bird registration offer and have to pay $600 per exam. But if you're like lazy Rahul, who kept procrastinating and missed the early bird deadline, you'll end up paying $800 per exam, which is the exam fees for standard registration. Basically, spending $400 extra cumulatively on both part 1 and part 2. Now, let's do the math together. So, your total exam cost, including enrollment and exam fees, comes roughly around 1.7 lakh rupees if you don't pay early and opt for the standard registration, and maybe another 1 lakh rupees for prep provider, considering that 80% of successful candidates usually go for third-party prep courses. These preparation programs range from 60,000 rupees for basic packages to about 1.5 lakh rupees for the really comprehensive ones with live classes, doubt clearing sessions and unlimited practice questions. So all in all, you're looking at about 2 to 2.5 lakh rupees for the complete preparation journey. But if you register early, you can save that $400, which currently comes around 35,000 rupees, just by being a little proactive. That's a decent amount of money saved, almost 15% of the total cost with negligible effort. Now, let's consider that you wish to explore an alternative option to FRM, such as an MBA. An MBA costs 3 to 4 times as much as the FRM. My cousin just finished her MBA from a decent B school, not even an IIM or anything, and her parents shelled out close to 12 lakh rupees. 12 lakh rupees. That's a huge amount. For FRM, you're spending about 15 to 20% of that amount and getting a globally recognized certification that holds weight in 190 countries. Like literally anywhere in the world. London, New York, Singapore, Hong Kong, they all respect the FRM letters after your name. So, when you look at it that way, it's way better in terms of the ROI you're actually getting in return. Now, after knowing and understanding literally everything about FRM, the main question you might be having is FRM the right certification for me? To be honest, it's best suited for you if you like analyzing problems and finding solutions, if you're comfortable with numbers, and trust me, you don't need to be a math genius. Just comfortable with numbers. If you enjoy understanding how businesses and markets actually work, if you want a career that's actually recession proof, and if you're curious about why financial disasters happen and how to prevent them successfully. Think about it this way. Do you watch the news about bank failures or market crashes and wonder, how did this happen? Or, could this have been prevented? If the answer to the above question is yes, you are going to love the FRM certification. After considering all this, if you're convinced to pursue the FRM certification, why not do it with the best? Other preparation providers might just teach you, but our FRM certification preparation program, in collaboration with KPMG in India, gives you industry-aligned training through real-world scenarios, something which employers essentially require in today's employees. Don't wait. Click the form in the description below, pick the FRM certification, and connect with our expert counselors for further guidance. Remember, FRM isn't just a certification. It's your entry ticket to a field that actually grows stronger during tough economic times.